Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. And let's talk about the Amazing Race 35, episode 5.
Yeah, so let's. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And you can support us on Patreon if you like, at patreon.com/nerdtainment.
Yeah, we're back in the same room.
Yes, I'm so happy to be back in person. I still love doing these with you when we have to be remote, of course. But it's been a minute since we've been together because I was out of town. Then you were out of town and we did this remotely for Survivor on Saturday. But here we are back together.
Guys, just living life.
Yeah.
And making videos. That's how it goes.
Yes. So this was a fun episode. Very tense. They tease, or I think they teased in the previous episode. It was like, oh, the race to the finish. You don't want to miss it next week. And they were right. Like, this was tight. It actually was.
It was
a true race to the pit stop.
Race. It was a rickshaw race.
It was, yes.
And somebody knew a shortcut.
Yes. They got lucky. So they're flying at the top of this episode from Vietnam to Jaipur, India. And everybody's on the same flight.
No flight drama. We're all going to be on the same flight. Equalizer. Yep. Did we ever learn why Jaipur is the pink city?
No. And I was kind of confused because it's the pink city. They're going to the Amber Palace.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
Lots of colors.
Okay, why is it called the pink city? I never got an answer there. But they're supposed to go to this Amber Palace first when they land. So, of course, everybody's racing off the plane. It's a taxi race to get to the Amber Palace. And then for whatever reason, they have to grab a bundle of sugarcane and carry it up a long hill. It seems like just a time thing. They're like, we just want to
just make you do something to do something.
Yeah.
But we see beautiful elephants.
Yes.
And we
so
see
colorful. That's what I love about India.
I love just an elephant, just like, hey, what's up, elephant?
Yeah.
But they're all going to be like sprinting with their bundles of sugarcane.
Right.
And then they're going to be like, oh my God, we're still going up a hill.
Woo! They're like, this is actually not a sprint. It is a marathon. And we need to slow it down.
Yep. There's a lot of, okay, we're just going to walk it now.
And there's some teams like, some guys are able to carry the sugarcane by themselves. Other teams are having to, do it together kind of thing.
Right.
Everybody's making their way up. But they are passing like elephants. Cows are everywhere throughout the episode because obviously they're sacred in India, which is
they should always be
sacred. Should be sacred everywhere. Yep. But just like lots of interesting animals. They saw pigs, there's just like animals all over the place as they're racing the sugarcane up. And then when they get to the top, it's that like beautiful sort of whatever that ceremony was. There was like musical instruments and the painted elephants and all of that. Very cool.
It was beautiful. But then they're going to get a clue. Roadblock.
Yes.
Who is feeling
balanced? Would you opt to do this one?
Probably.
Knowing what the challenge is, I think I would be horrible at this because I think I'm like Corey, where the shape of my head is not right for balancing things
too much
on it.
Great hair.
Well, thank you for that. But I think like under all this hair, we got an odd shaped dome.
Do we now?
That's why I'm blessed to keep this hair. I'm like, please never let me go bald because I don't know what's fully going on under here. But I think there's a little bit of like maybe a little cone head.
It's never as bad as people think. Douglas did the same. He was like, oh, I don't know what my head shape is. And then he shaved his head and it's like, it's shaped just a regular head. I think all heads are pretty much regular.
Well, Corey's is not. Okay?
I don't know. I don't know about that. When you think balanced, you don't know if it's tightrope, balance beam, something, but I definitely have good balance.
Core strength,
I'm going to be good. And also, I would definitely want to do any dance thing. So I think I would do this one.
I'd probably let you take it. Yes. So the people who I'm going to run through the list of people who did this one: Annalie, John, Ashley, Ian, Jeremy, Corey, Andrea, Morgan, Garrett, Chelsea. That's who's doing this one.
Okay. Well, it does seem like good choices. I know some teams are just alternating. So it is what it is.
And it's just like they're vocalizing the tension of having all of the teams at the roadblock at the same time.
Yes.
Particularly one where there's a rehearsal element to it and you decide when you're going to go perform.
And you don't decide this, but you may mess up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I do love having everyone there for it. And some people are going to be really bad at this. And some people are going to just really practice a long time.
Yeah. It's that thing of like, do you rehearse it a couple times and then just try it? Or do you take the Ashley route where you're like, I'm going to get this down before I try it? It's like, I don't know which way is best. Ultimately, I think
which way would you do though?
I think I would want to practice.
Really?
And then go. I think I would.
I do not have the patience for that.
Yeah.
I would just be like, I'm just going to do it.
I mean, I would feel the pressure for sure, particularly like watching someone like Annalie, who rehearsed like twice and then is already getting in there. I'd be like, wait, should I go?
Yeah.
Should I go? But then I think as I was seeing people mess up, I would feel justified. Like, yeah, see, you went too soon.
Right.
Then I'm practicing enough to get this.
Well, I would definitely practice like for 1 minute and go. But Annalie, it's going to work in her favor because she's going to get to go like 3 times before a line forms.
True.
And that's key. Just back to back, do it. You're going to probably get it.
And I think also the dance seemed relatively simple.
Yeah.
It was really more the balancing of the pots that was the challenge for everybody. Like nobody was, getting it wrong because they missed a dance move. It was all like the pots are falling off of your head. So
yeah. And there was wind. Did you see?
No.
Like one of Annalie's looked like the wind blew it off.
Oh, interesting.
And then Joe and Ian did confirm to me that the wind was knocking.
Well, how is that not affecting the other ladies, the professionals? Because let me say something.
They had like 10 balls.
They had 6 pots on their head, and the Amazing Race contestants had 3.
And the wind was like,
yeah.
And those ladies, it did not budge. So I don't know about that.
They are good at that. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Annalie's in there trying it early. Andrea's also trying it early. And Annalie does get out on her 3rd attempt. So like not only is she just diving right in, but she's pretty legitimately good at
figuring it out. Yeah. Yes. I love that John used to break dance. And I'm like, yes, John, please.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Give me some videos.
And he was good. I would love to see the breakdancing videos, but he was also really good. He only had 2 attempts.
Yeah.
And he was out.
He did great.
Yeah.
He's gonna get out, what, 2nd? Yeah. And the judge was like, you have a special gift for dancing.
Yeah. Come back.
Yes.
Join my troupe.
He's like, I like you. I thought that was adorable. Did you know that Douglas used to break dance?
Show me the videos.
I don't think
cut them in right now. Smash cut to Douglas breakdancing.
I haven't seen any videos. I've seen it in real life.
Oh my God.
This is why you invite us to weddings. It's real.
Yes.
Legit.
He still does it?
It has probably been like 10 years since.
I was going to say, didn't you go to a wedding within the past couple of years? And I would have loved to see him breakdancing.
Yeah, we swing dance together. That's still a go.
Yeah.
But I guess my sister got married like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago. That's the last time I saw him break dance.
Okay.
And I do remember he regretted it the next day.
I was going to say, he might actually break something now if he danced.
My brother-in-law, who my sister married, the 2 of them both break dance, and they were
like a battle.
They like killed it that wedding night.
Oh my God.
And I bet they both have not done it since.
They're like, that was our swan song.
Yep, that was it. Amazing.
Oh my goodness. Now, when Annalie and Steve are on their way out, we get a couple of sound bites from people saying, we're watching them. Like, this team has been killing it.
Like, look how good they are.
And I wonder if that's a little preview of this U-turn vote.
Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind.
They are on people's radar. And rightfully so. I will say, Annalie's kind of carrying the team, in my opinion.
100%.
I don't want to discredit what Steve is bringing. No. But Annalie seems to be like the alpha.
Yes.
Who's like, here's how we're doing this. And he's like, okay, I will support that.
And I do love how he's like, yep.
Of course.
If she says it, I do it. That's a good kind of dad right there.
Well, and it's working.
But yeah, I mean, he's not like bringing the team down.
Yeah.
At least not yet. Fingers crossed. But yeah, she's definitely like, Dad, go. And he's like, all right.
Yeah. So now that Annalie and John are out, Todd's over here like, wow, Ashley is practicing a lot, and I wish she would just go for it.
Why doesn't she just?
He's very much. It seems like he loves to be in control, and when he's not, he's like, why isn't she doing it this way?
Yeah.
And there's not so much like trusting the process, it seems. And we've heard before, like he said, like sometimes Ashley doesn't know how good she is.
Right.
So I think part of him is wanting her to realize like, you're ready.
Yeah.
Like, don't doubt yourself.
Right.
But it's also just this, he has anxiety when he's not the one doing the challenge.
I think he's got a different perspective, right? Yeah. He's like, I would do it this way.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating when she's not doing it the way I would do it. Which same. I'd be like, why are you not doing it the way I do it?
if you were watching me practice and practice and practice, you'd be like, David, get in there.
David, we're in a race. I would be samesies.
Yes.
Okay, Morgan is going to be able to get it on her second try.
She's very good as well.
Out third.
Note out third for Morgan and Lena.
Oh, okay. Let's note that. Andrea.
Yes.
Takes her 6 tries, but she's going to get out 4.
Yeah. So that's, I think, an argument for get in there. Get in there and get your attempts in, because even though she took 6 times, she got in there early. She got whatever practice she needed, like in the zone, and they're out 4th. And that's a really good placement for Andrea and Milena at this point.
We're seeing them moving up at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a first that they were exiting at 4th.
Yeah.
Todd and Ashley, hello.
Hello, guys.
I was very excited to see that. And of course, the line is starting to build now, right?
Yeah.
So that is the downside. Now you're going to like do an attempt, and then you're going to stand in line for a while.
Yep. Right after Andrea, Chelsea gets it on her 3rd attempt. So she's 5th place getting out of here. And then we jump over to teams heading towards the detour. They're looking for that like cool staircase situation, which was very beautiful looking. But John and Greg and Morgan and Lena, we are seeing working together.
They have the same last name.
I didn't know that. Did you know that? I mean, I'm sure it's public.
I'm sure I read it.
I just didn't like put it together.
No.
But they're like, we're the Franklin siblings, all 4 of us. Very cute.
Love it. Very cute. It's not going to stick.
Yeah.
This alliance is like going to fall apart.
It's an alliance of convenience.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there you are. Let's work together. And then once they part ways, it's like, we're not working together anymore.
Well, big picture doesn't work together.
No.
That did not happen. So.
They can't help each other there. But Steve and Annalie are getting to the detour clue first. And the detour is all dolled up versus the big picture. Dolled up is the puppets. Big picture is this live painting thing, which I was telling Sarah before we went live, reminds me of this performance in Laguna out here in California called Pageant of the Masters. If you guys are not familiar, you should look it up. But it's a thing every summer where there's like a theme for each year. And it's a series of like paintings and various pieces of art where they like stage it with like set pieces and all these things, exactly like they are doing it at Amazing Race. And then the lights come up and it looks like you're looking at a painting, but it's like real people and props and all this stuff. But the way the lighting is, you're like, you can't believe that you're like looking at people because it looks exactly like a painting. It's very cool. But I have to imagine that someone on the Amazing Race team knew about that. And they were like, let's do a version of that.
Yeah, it's a great idea. This is a great challenge. Reading between making dolls and doing this art, you can't tell which one is going to be more time consuming.
But everyone seemed to think that puppets was going to be more time consuming. Yeah.
How do you make a doll? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can recreate art. I'm sure I'm going to look at the details.
Yeah.
But the art had the pieces like spread out.
Yeah.
And you just like have to figure out all the pieces.
I don't think anybody was prepared for the level of detail that was required on the big picture. And puppets, I think, turned out to be a lot simpler than people were expecting.
Yeah, it absolutely was more streamlined.
Yeah.
You watched a demonstration.
Yeah. The materials you needed were right there.
Right there. You do a few steps. No one seemed to really mess it up.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be way
easier,
quicker, but we're going to get there. So let's continue through the roadblock.
Right.
Chelsea's going to get out 5th.
Yep.
Jeremy is out 6th.
Yep.
Ashley
gets in there. She may have gotten in there later, but she only took 3 attempts.
3 tries.
So she's out in 7th place.
Yep. Ian is out at 8th. Garrett 9th. And oh boy,
Corey and Rob.
This little segment of Corey.
Now, Garrett took 7 attempts.
Yep.
Okay. Andrea took 6, like we say.
It takes,
But 15 attempts.
Oh my gosh.
That is.
And you're just like, I don't think Corey's getting it.
I'm looking at, I'm like, Corey, what's going on with that head?
What?
Not that it's your fault, but I'm like, I do want to shave your head just to see the shape of it. Because something's different. Like these bowls just keep falling off. You cannot balance it.
Is it his beautiful hair?
Maybe it is. But he also, did you notice that 15th attempt? he barely made it through. When he was like doing the final kneeling thing, the bowls were askew.
They were.
I was like, this is so close to toppling over.
He was like, please,
he
please.
Barely made it.
And I have to imagine the judge was like, if a bowl doesn't fall off,
you're good.
Like, I'm gonna give it to you. Just don't drop the bowl.
There also was a moment where he suddenly had a different colored headscarf. I don't know what happened, but they swapped something out. I don't know if it got too sweaty.
It was like, it was the color. The color was not helping me balance.
Orange is not good. Give me red. I don't know what that was about. But 15 attempts. And his dad was so sweet, Rob was. And he's talking about, you know, he's a coach and he understands how important it is to like model optimism. Like, don't give up, because how do you not get so defeated as Corey? Just attempt after attempt after attempt, and you've seen all the other teams leave, and like that's tough.
Just they're struggling. Oh, I mean, it was hard for me to watch.
Yeah,
I can't imagine being your partner and not being like, like to the side.
Oh yeah,
I'd just be like, as you're dropping or something.
Imagine Morgan and Lena. Okay, if Morgan had those sisters, the sister dynamic is different. Okay, than a father-son dynamic where there's like a coach-athlete kind of situation. If Morgan were taking 15 attempts, Lena would have been losing it.
Don't let the bulls not work out. She becomes a Peloton coach. She's like, not today. That's what we would have had.
Oh my Lord. So they finally do make it through, thank God. And now we're like fully in the detour at this point. Now we've seen John and Greg and Morgan and Lena, the Franklin siblings. They've all chosen to do big picture together.
Why not?
Steve and Annalie, meanwhile, are at the puppets.
Yes.
And we're seeing Annalie get a little frustrated with Steve here. But I think that's just sort of part of her role as like, I'm kind of the team leader and you're like the one who does what I tell you to do.
He did hammer her finger.
She's like, I can't even speak right now. Like I was imagining a producer being like, Annalie, how do you feel? And she's like, I can't even speak right now. My hand hurts so bad.
Yeah, I've had a hammer hit my finger. That hurts. But she was already tense. Yeah. And then she gets her finger hit. That hurts. But I mean, they're stressing. And I'm like, y'all are so far ahead. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay, Annalie?
Yeah, you're good.
Take a breath.
But you could tell right away that a lot of people were choosing big picture.
Yes,
right? Like barely any of the people were choosing puppets. Mm-hmm. And then as they're getting into that challenge, the props are all over the place.
All over.
They're discovering new like little nooks and crannies of like more props.
Yeah. At first they're just like looking over here, and then they're like, wait, way over there too.
There's a whole other part to this. And we as viewers are starting to see how detailed this is, especially when they do their checks. And it's highlighting like this character has a sash and this one doesn't. This one has like a cross pin versus like a triangle pin. Like it's crazy.
It was very specific.
Yeah.
And so, these details become important here as we see people not getting it. So, but we've got Andrea and Milena over there. We've got Robin and Chelsea over there. Liam and Jeremy. Morgan and Lena are gonna, because they're there early. They've got plenty of time.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna get a check. No. We see like 14 things highlighted.
A lot wrong. A lot wrong. Yeah.
Of course, they don't see anything highlighted, so they have no idea.
No idea. And you can also see, like, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know, like, how specific it was. But, for example, like, Morgan was holding the guitar diagonal. Yeah. And in the painting, it's like, this way.
Right. And so you were like, I don't know. Did I hold that right? Did I have the right earring? Like, you could just focus on you and not even.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Greg and John are going to get a no as well, but they debug. Yeah, apparently that's because they're
like the computer
programming whatever.
They're like, sometimes you spend hours on a code and the computer tells you it's wrong, and so you just got to debug the situation.
Great.
That's
okay.
Right. That's
all righty.
Yes.
But this is when Todd and Ashley, and Joe and Ian, are going to decide
it's a race,
big picture at the same time.
Yeah, and they're racing into the grounds of whatever this is. I forget if it's a palace or whatever.
Right.
But they're both running, and then they're like, it's not this way, it's this way. And
wrong way.
Ashley was so funny. She's like, okay. And she's got her bag. She's like, okay, it's not that way. It's this way. Okay. And then they get there literally like a split second too late. And it was one of those situations where I'm sure in the moment they were like, why didn't we run like 1 second faster? Because Joe and Ian get the last station, but turned out to be a huge blessing for them.
Oh my gosh.
Probably didn't know it in the moment.
No, they did not know. They didn't know it until they got to the mat because they think they're so far behind.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, they lose this foot race, and now they have to go to another place.
Yeah.
Do this task. They have no idea how quick the other task is. And so, apparently their mind is just like,
and I'm sure they assumed that big picture was the better task because so many other people were choosing it. So they're like, oh, we were right. This is the easy one. And now we can't do it because all the stations are taken. So they think they're on their way to the harder challenge.
Yes.
So I'm sure that was like incredibly frustrating for them, but blessing in disguise.
Joe and Ian, however, are like, yay, we did it. Opposite of blessing.
Oh, yeah. A curse.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So meanwhile, over at the puppets, Steve and Annalie are done. And I wrote in my notes, seems easy. Because indeed it was, right? The puppets was the easier half of this detour.
Indeed it was. Steve and Annalie are out before anyone else arrives at that task. We do see Greg and John debug, finish. They're able to figure out the big picture and get out.
Yeah.
Now, they had originally chosen to do this because Morgan and Lena chose to do it, and they thought we could help each other in some way.
Yeah.
Turns out, no.
You can't.
They're going to get on out of there. Morgan and Lena are going to be like, what are we doing?
Well, and because it's a little like the tile challenge was in Vietnam, where everybody's got their own thing. Like, everybody has their own painting with their own, like, even, some people were doing the same painting. I didn't go back to like really track, but like even those individual paintings might have had like particularities in the backgrounds that were different, Like I think Morgan and Lena's painting was the same scene as Andrea and Melena's, but I don't know if all their background details were exactly the same. So it might have been a very individualized task, but basically
they definitely had different colors, right? It seemed like
maybe. Well, don't ask me.
Oh, that's right. So even if their scene was similar, they had red, they had brown, they had white.
Yeah.
So they would pick up a white shirted guy and then be like, oh no, he's got a brown shirt.
Well, and I started to think like, what if Morgan and Lena have got a prop that we need?
Yeah.
Sitting in their painting and it's the wrong prop for their painting.
Right.
And we need that prop.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much overlap there was in that stuff, but it's entirely possible.
Okay, we're going to see that Morgan and Lena are wrong. Todd and Ashley and Joel and Garrett are going to now show up at the dolls.
That's right.
Over there. Then we're going to go ahead and get our first place team because they're so far in the lead.
So far ahead. Second first place finish for Steve and Annalie. They get $3,000 each.
Well done, kiddos.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
They are doing well, but this is when Phil's going to go ahead and tell us there is a U-turn before the next leg.
Yeah.
Where everyone will anonymously vote.
Mandatory vote. Basically, it's like, congrats on your first place. There's a U-turn coming up and you should be worried.
You should be worried. He's like, do you think you're a target?
Yeah.
And Annalie's like, I do. All right, back to this detour.
Yeah, so like you said, Todd and Ashley, Garrett and Joel are at the puppets. Then we see Corey and Rob arrive at the puppets, and they're very relieved to see other teams there because they have spent so much more time at the bowl situation. And now they're like, okay, we're not completely out. Like, this is great. And they seem to divide and conquer and each make a doll at the same time, where it seemed like the other teams were like making each doll together and like making sure all the detail was exactly right. But to me, it seemed like Rob took a doll and Corey took a doll. And I was like, good for you guys. Like, speed it up. Work on the dolls at the same time. Did you get that sense at all?
I thought Joel and Garrett were the only ones who worked together.
Okay.
I thought everyone else took a doll.
Okay. Maybe you're right.
But Yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Joel and Garrett are actually going to be able to get their dolls done and pass.
Yeah.
Todd and Ashley at this point. Glenda is asking, we didn't say which one of these we would pick.
Oh, the dolls versus the big picture.
This one was so hard to say. I probably would have picked the big picture because I would have thought it was just like matching details.
Yeah.
Which I think I'm good at.
I think I would have thought it was simpler than it was.
Yeah. I think I would have been
doll
caught
from
up.
Scratch feels harder.
Yeah, that doesn't sound, that sounds like rice paper. Like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It was deceiving.
It was. So, like you say, Garrett and Joel finished the puppets.
Yeah.
We bought back over to big picture. Everybody's messing up.
Yep.
The judge, I love his aggressive. No.
Yeah, he's great.
No.
He was like
right in their faces. As a producer, I'm like, I'm casting that man to do the nose.
Oh, and the racers are like,
yeah.
Because of his extra attitude, it's so good.
It's so funny. But Andrea and Milena do finish the spot the difference, big picture, painting situation. They finish in 4th place.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, they only had like one mistake. When they get their incorrect, it highlights like one thing.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to figure it out.
Yep.
So they're going to get out quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We see Robin and Chelsea get an incorrect. Morgan and Lena are going to still be incorrect.
Okay.
Because, and I made a note that they're only fixing one thing at a time. Now, granted, they don't see all the highlights that we see.
And there's a lot of highlights.
But as soon as they see like, oh, it's this.
Yeah.
They do not continue surveying. They stop, they run to go fix that. And then they're frustrated when they get another no.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be a long process.
Yeah. So they're taking a long time. We bop over to puppets. Todd and Ashley get the puppets done.
Boom. Done. Out of there.
Puppets are easy.
But then Rob and Corey are going to get finished their dolls pretty quickly after.
Yeah. So the puppets thing, it's a breeze. Compared to this other one. So now it's basically just big picture, except that one of the teams switches over to puppets. But all the teams who originally go to puppets are done and through.
Right.
Okay. So we're back at big picture.
Morgan
we
and
get
Lena.
this talk of Lena wanting to switch.
Yep.
Then we hear, I don't know if we've heard this before on the show, their 25-minute rule.
They came in with a rule.
If we are at half of a detour for longer than 25 minutes, we're switching.
Which, pause right there.
I'm questioning that, but I've never run the race.
No.
And I've never really meaningfully thought about the strategy of that. But like, you're only giving yourself 25
minutes and then you're going to change? I was like, well, no, that's a horrible rule.
Yeah.
Because sometimes these things take a while.
Yeah.
It is not uncommon to spend an hour on a task. If you're wasting time switching?
Yeah.
No, I did not think that this was a good rule.
Well, it turns out they broke it.
Okay, good.
Because they were at big picture for over 2 hours.
I think that that's okay.
And I'm like, maybe a 2-hour rule. And then you switch, okay? If you're somewhere for 2 hours,
look,
maybe then it's
here's
the
the
switch.
rule. If you cannot figure out what's wrong, yes, go ahead and switch. You're correct.
Yeah.
Because they had so many mistakes.
Yeah.
Their eye for details.
It just wasn't going to happen.
It was lacking.
Yeah.
In this moment.
So I think they're just like, it's like when you're stuck in like a traffic jam. And you'd rather just take the side streets so it feels like you're moving, even if it's not necessarily faster.
You're like, I doubled the time, the place, the amount of turns.
Yes, exactly. But at least I'm moving.
Yeah.
So I think they're like, we got to get out of here.
Right.
And we got to go. So they switch to puppets. So then we see Robin and Chelsea finish the big picture.
Yes.
And I'm like, is this going to be a good decision for Morgan and Lena?
Because... Well, then Morgan almost loses an eye. So was it a good decision? Because we might be wounded.
Oh my God. That was really horrible. And I missed it the first time I was watching. I just heard her reaction. So then I rewound and I was like, why did I rewind? To see her almost get stabbed in the eyeball with the needle.
Y'all, that looked so close.
It was so close.
I thought she lost an eye. But then, true to Morgan form, she like yells back.
Yeah.
Lena in her right is like, don't hover your face over my sewing hand.
And Morgan's like, well, you're sewing completely wrong. You're sewing like a crazy person.
She's like, I'm helping you. I'm like, no, Peloton coach, you cannot help from over there.
And they're also the only ones there, right? So when they get there, it's like, well, any teams who we know teams have done puppets now because we've been at the big picture thing forever and we saw some people turn away and come over and do puppets. And now we know that those teams are gone.
Yeah.
So we're potentially completely screwed here.
Yeah.
And we're just like here wondering, like, are we going to make it?
Yeah. No, this is a tough spot to be in for them.
And back at big picture, Liam and Jeremy are finishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joe and Ian are still wrong.
Right. So now we're going to have to get the edit, and you never know, is this just an edit story?
Yeah.
But Joe and Ian are trying to figure out their mistakes. Mm-hmm. They're going to eventually finish. Morgan and Lena having dramatic times with dolls, but they're going to finish.
Also, like, Morgan and Lena were the only team that I remember seeing getting a bad check on their dolls. Everybody else, like, seemed on their first check was like, great, the dolls look good. But Morgan and Lena, like, made some mistakes because there was the whole thing when they got there where Lena was like, we got to watch the demonstration. But they're just, like, rushing and they're tense and whatever. Both of those teams finally make it out. And you're sort of wondering, like, how close is it really?
How close is this really?
Morgan and Lena are like, we're in last place, running to the rickshaws. They're getting in. They're like, oh, this is really bad for us. And then they see Joe and Ian coming for a rickshaw. And they're like, we're not last. We have to go.
Oh, my gosh. A literal rickshaw race. They are like yelling at their driver. We have to beat that rickshaw. Let's go. And then Joe and Ian are like, oh, my God. We got to go. We get to see them passing Lena first.
They're like, pass that rickshaw. And meanwhile, Joe and Ian are like, trip of a lifetime. At least we did this. It's probably it for us. But they're not giving up completely because they're like, go, 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 past that rickshaw. And they do.
But I do have to say, thank you for leaving that kiss in. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
they literally thought they were losing. Yeah. And that was a beautiful moment for them to be like, doesn't matter. Trip of a lifetime. We got a kiss. I always get nervous in other countries because I'm like, are they okay?
Oh, sure.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. Yeah. Then they passed them.
Yeah, because they're like, hope they make a wrong turn somewhere, and then they just like pass them because their rickshaw driver like gets it in gear.
Yeah.
But then Morgan and Lena are melting down, and they're like, you gotta let them pass us. And then their driver's like, well, let me take this shortcut.
They take a turn. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, whenever drivers take a turn, you're like, oh no, now they're lost.
Oh God.
That's it. They're going to circle the town.
Now they're in Pakistan and, they've crossed the border and not good.
Oh, no. That turns out to be a shortcut.
Yeah. So then it turns into a literal foot race to the mat. And it's so tight. In fact, like Liam and Jeremy were sort of part of this, unbeknownst to them and us, really, because they aren't highlighted in this. But like Phil is saying that all three of the final teams are on the mat within seconds of one another. It is so, close.
So dramatic.
But it's just that it's the drama of Morgan and Lena and Joe and Ian being within eyesight of each other.
Oh my gosh.
That made it so tense. And
it was great television.
It was so good.
I can't imagine being either of those teams. Though. Yeah. Like that's too much anxiety for me. That would have been terrifying.
But we should run through the pit stop.
Because we had exciting stuff earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, my God.
Yeah, exactly.
So second,
Greg and John.
Beautiful. Well done, guys.
And then it's 4 teams it was like an epic pit stop segment because teams just kept showing up very close together.
And they got to say the number to the next team.
Loved that.
Adorable.
Loved that because I think it's Joel and Garrett. First of all, they can't believe it. No. Because don't forget that Garrett was out of the bowl thing in 9th place. And now they finished 3rd place this leg. So they're like, what happened to everybody else?
They're like, y'all are 3rd. And they're like, huh?
Yeah.
And then Andrea and Milena, they're told they're in 4th.
Here's what I loved. You know how at the beginning of the season, Andrea and Milena were like, we want to be a positive team.
Yeah.
I don't think they're always positive, but they're always real. Milena comes up to this mat and she's like, hi, Phil. And I'm like, you are so real for that because I would be exhausted and fed up too with some of these challenges.
Yeah.
They're never like fully like, oh, we're like giving up or like grumble. But they just let the like reality of like, this is tough and exhausting. They let that shine through. And I love that. But they get up there and she's like, hi, Phil.
Yeah,
we're here. And I think they're genuinely feeling like, where are we in this? Are we at the back of the pack still? Because they'd kind of been riding towards the back.
Yes.
And it was great that Joel and Garrett were able to tell them that they were 4th.
This is that top 5 finish.
Yes, it's amazing.
This is the first time they've cracked the top 5.
I'm so happy for them.
So excited for them.
Then Todd and Ashley.
Think they're last. Yes. Genuinely have thought ever since they were forced out of Big Picture,
and that's
struggling through the dolls.
Yeah.
They think we are just been pushed to the back.
You have to think like we really wanted to go to Big Picture.
Yes.
We got blocked out because all the stations were taken. They get up there and they're like, don't do it, Phil.
Do
not arch that eyebrow.
No.
Don't play with us, Phil.
And they're like, y'all are team 5.
Andrea does such a great job. She goes, Todd and Ashley, you are team number 5. And they're like so excited. It's so cute. We also got that. I think Todd and Ashley and Andrea and Milena are getting along because they had that great cab moment early in the episode too, where Ashley's like, good to see you. Stay behind us. Thanks.
And then they were like, go, go.
So they sort of seem to have like a, playful, friendly relationship. So that was cute. And then Rob and Corey show up.
Corey last to leave the bowl dance.
Corey's like, it's over.
And
it's over.
They're like, no, you're good.
6th place.
Middle of the pack. You're fine. 6th place. Yeah, that was so great. All of that coming in.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get Robin and Chelsea 7th.
Yeah.
Liam and Jeremy 8th. Come on, guys. Come on.
Come on.
I need y'all to move up.
I
need it.
You're scraping by.
It's really
let's get you up there in the top 5.
Let's do
it. Let's jump ahead a little bit.
And then once again, Morgan and Lena are gonna just barely squeeze it out.
Oh my God.
And come in
9th place.
Yep. And Joe and Ian eliminated. They were not a shabby team. They were not in the back of the pack.
No.
But this was not their leg.
The Big Picture thing took them out. You know, I mean, Ian didn't do the best, right, on the bowls. Like, I think they were towards the back of getting out of the bowl situation.
Not horrible. Yeah.
But it really was that Big Picture challenge. And it was one of those where it's like seconds deciding it. Like, you just
oh my gosh.
Unlucky.
And your driver just got a shortcut.
Yeah.
It's not like their driver did anything wrong. But they were just seconds behind, and then that's how they finish. Oh, tough to go out that way, but that is the race.
That is.
Somebody's going to be eliminated.
Yeah. So everybody now knows that there's this anonymous mandatory U-turn vote coming up. Have to imagine the recency bias of seeing Annalie and Steve finish top of the pack for the last 2 legs is going to hurt them because Jocelyn and Victor, who finished first on the first 2 legs, are gone. So I think the teams that people are going to be looking at are Greg and John, Steve and Annalie, and I don't know who else.
What? Okay, that's shocking to me. I think Steve and Annalie.
Oh, and Rob and Corey.
Robin and Chelsea have been the edit. Everyone's like, Robin and Chelsea.
I guess that's true because people have been commenting on how they don't work with
social game is.
But they've only finished first once. And now they're 7th.
I hear you. But here's what you have to consider.
Oh, you don't always want to U-turn the first place team.
Right. If Steve and Annalie are in first place, which we know that they are at this point, you turn them. They're now just finishing middle of the pack.
Okay.
Whereas Robin and Chelsea have shown everybody that they are competitors. Like, they don't do horrible.
Yeah, they got
but they will not work with you.
Yeah.
And like we saw it, we've seen something in every single episode. So that's why I feel like the edit is trying to tell us something's going on with Robin and Chelsea. They're going to at least get some votes, maybe.
Interesting.
But even in just this episode, Todd and Ashley are literally running this way. Robin and Chelsea come out and they're just like, is it this way?
And they won't help.
And Robin and Chelsea go, act like we don't see them. Like, all you have to do is be like, yeah, that way. Like, so vague.
Right.
Yeah, that way.
Yeah. Yep. You got it.
That's not, they're not actually helping them in any way. And I think that that's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
That's my question.
You might be right.
Obviously, Steve and Annalie are threats, but I'm not going to U-turn the team that is in first place at this point.
But I also am curious how this is going to work because it's a mandatory anonymous vote. Yep. When is that happening? And for what leg is the U-turn going to be applied?
So I think what it looks like is that the U-turn will be applied this episode or this leg coming up, but everyone's going to do the vote before the leg starts. So you don't know.
So they're going to like vote overnight or something.
Right. Or like before you open your first clue. Right. You're going to do your vote. I will say though, Joel and Garrett, in watching their recap, completely revealed that they're not U-turned whatsoever.
Good job, guys.
They were like, can't wait to see who actually does really vote for who. Do you think we better not have gotten any votes? I was like, okay, so you just told me that you don't think you even got any votes. So you're definitely not U-turned. Okay. But that's the only thing that I've figured out for sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, it will be fun to see how this plays out. It's a new kind of twist for Amazing Race.
I love it.
And just to see
I love that you're required to vote.
The strategy that's going to go into that.
But because it's anonymous, go for it.
But can they talk about it? Like, you have to place your vote anonymously, but are the Franklin siblings all going to like decide together who they're going to, U-turn?
Right. Yeah. So watching other people's recaps, it sounds like up to this point, there was chats about like, who do you think you would want to U-turn?
Oh.
So like, some conversations happened, and then I guess if you were close to someone, maybe they did tell you afterwards.
Yeah.
But that it's not completely open and not everybody knows who voted for who.
Sure. Makes sense.
So interesting to see. Can't wait to see it. And I'm so happy that a U-turn is just absolutely going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Because
they're like enough with us introducing twists that you don't use.
Yes. Especially when we set you up that it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
When you U-turn it, it wouldn't have mattered. And then you didn't use it. Producers are like, we're done with that.
Yeah.
You're forced to do it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Who would you guys U-turn? I'm U-turning a team that's not going to help me.
Yes.
Who I think could beat me.
Let me look through this list here. I'm going to U-turn.
There's not like one clear bad team. Honestly.
What do you mean bad? Bad at the race?
Yeah, like there's not one team where you're like, I'm not going to U-turn them. They're like going to be out any day now.
I would say Liam and Jeremy, if anybody.
Oh my God, my boys.
They're not bad, but they're just not good.
They're not. You're right. I'm not U-turning them. They're definitely off the table. I was forgetting them. Just forgetting about
But I think everybody else at this point has finished top 5. Because I was actually looking at the draft points, and Liam and Jeremy are the only team who haven't scored any points.
Trust me, I know. That's all I got, guys. Joel and Garrett finally got me some points.
Yeah.
Liam and Jeremy gave me no points.
So
this is the first time Rob and Corey have been out. So honestly, this would be a decent time to U-turn Rob and Corey. It would be. I'm sure that they would beast through it and still be fine.
That's the thing. It's like, I'd be like, oh, there's 6th place. But I'd be like, they went from last to 6th within one leg.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I want to risk that.
Right. Yeah, but it's anonymous. So it'd be like, well, it wasn't me.
Let's try
it.
Let's just try it.
Vote for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Rob and Corey are a good one. Robin and
Or
Chelsea.
do you take the chance like Morgan and Lena, because they're a strong team?
No,
they're very competitive and motivated, but now they're starting this leg last.
Morgan and Lena are almost out every single episode.
They were like 2nd place on the first episode.
Yeah, that was 4.
That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. We've had so many dramatic finishes with them.
It's true. You're right.
I feel like it's one of these days it's not going to work out for them. That's how I feel. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yay.
Yes.
Good stuff. Very exciting finish on this one. And I can't wait to watch the 6th episode with the U-turn.
Same. It's going to be so fun.
You guys, thank you for joining us live, hanging out with the chat.
Yes. And if you're joining us later, let us know what you think about this U-turn, who you would vote for, and who you think is going to be U-turned. Let us know how you feel about Joe and Ian getting eliminated this leg. And are Steve and Anna Lee just going to run away with it? Are they the front runners now? Let us know what you think.
Oh, yes. All right. Let us know what you think. And we will be back same time, same place next week.
Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.